The school corridor echoed with laughter, but not the joyous kind. A group of boys surrounded a smaller, frail-looking child, their mocking voices cutting through the air like knives. "What are you going to do about it, nerd?" one of them jeered, shoving the boy against a locker. The child's glasses slid down his nose as he clutched his books tighter, his face pale with fear. Watching from a distance, Mr. Thompson, the school's history teacher, clenched his fists. He had seen too many moments like this over the years, but this time something compelled him to step in. Pushing through the crowd, his voice boomed. "Enough! What do you think you're doing?" The bullies scattered, their bravado vanishing in the presence of authority. The boy looked up at Mr. Thompson, his eyes filled with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "Are you okay?" the teacher asked gently. The boy nodded, but there was something in his expression, a depth of pain and secrecy, that Mr. Thompson couldn't ignore. He had no idea this moment would unravel a series of events that would change both their lives forever. Mr. Thompson had been a teacher for over 20 years, a man in his early 40s. He was known for his passion for history and his dedication to his students. But beneath his calm demeanor lay a heavy heart. A widower. He had lost his wife to a car accident 5 years earlier. Since then, he had thrown himself into his work, finding solace in the classroom and in helping his students succeed. However, his unwavering commitment to his students also made him painfully aware of the challenges many of them faced. From broken homes to societal pressures, he often saw children carrying burdens far too heavy for their age. It was this empathy that drove him to intervene that day in the hallway. The boy he defended, Ayan, was a recent transfer to the school. Small for his age, with a quiet demeanor and an ever-present pair of oversized glasses, Ayan had quickly become a target for bullies. He rarely spoke in class, and when he did, his voice was barely above a whisper. Despite this, his assignments reflected a sharp intellect and a curious mind. Mr. Thompson had noticed this, and often wondered about the boy's life outside school. Ayan lived with his grandmother in a modest apartment on the outskirts of town. His parents, Mr. Thompson learned through school records, had passed away in a tragic accident a few years earlier. The loss had left Ayan withdrawn and introverted, a shadow of the vibrant child he might once have been. His grandmother, though loving, struggled to make ends meet, leaving Ayan to navigate much of life on his own. A week after the bullying incident, Mr. Thompson noticed Ayan lingering in the classroom after the bell rang. The boy's hands fidgeted with the straps of his backpack as he hesitated by the door. "Is everything all right, Ayan?" Mr. Thompson asked, setting down the stack of papers he had been grading. Ayan glanced up, his eyes filled with hesitation. "Sir," he began softly, "thank you for helping me last week." "You don't have to thank me," Mr. Thompson replied. "It's my job to make sure you feel safe here." For a moment, it seemed like Ayan wanted to say more, but instead, he mumbled a quick goodbye and left the room. Something about the encounter gnawed at Mr. Thompson. Over the next few days, he noticed that Ayan's behavior had changed. The boy seemed more withdrawn than ever, avoiding eye contact and barely speaking in class. One afternoon, as Mr. Thompson was locking up his classroom, he saw Ayan sitting alone on the school steps, his head bowed. Concerned, he approached the boy. "Ayan, is everything okay?" Ayan hesitated before finally speaking. "Sir, they're still bullying me. They said they'll hurt me if I tell anyone." His voice cracked with fear, and Mr. Thompson's heart ached for him. "Ayan, you don't have to face this alone," Mr. Thompson said firmly. "I'll talk to the principal and make sure this stops." But Ayan shook his head vigorously. "No, please, sir, don't. It'll only make things worse." Torn between respecting Ayan's wishes and his duty to protect him, Mr. Thompson decided to keep a closer eye on the situation. Little did he know, the bullying was only the tip of the iceberg. One evening, as Mr. Thompson was leaving school, he spotted Ayan walking toward an abandoned warehouse near the edge of town. Curious and concerned, he decided to follow at a distance. What he saw left him speechless. Inside the warehouse, Ayan had set up a makeshift laboratory. Shelves were lined with jars of chemicals, circuit boards, and hand-drawn blueprints. In the center of the room was a contraption that looked like something out of a science fiction movie. A small device with glowing lights and a humming motor. Mr. Thompson stepped inside cautiously. "Ion, what is all this?" The boy jumped, nearly dropping the tool he was holding. "Sir, I can explain," he stammered. Over the next hour, Ion revealed his secret. He was a prodigy, far beyond his years in intelligence and creativity. The device he was working on was a prototype for a renewable energy generator, something he believed could change the world. "My parents were scientists," Ion explained, his voice trembling. "Before they died, they were working on this. I'm trying to finish what they started." Mr. Thompson was stunned. Here was a boy, bullied and underestimated, carrying the weight of his parents' legacy on his small shoulders. "Why didn't you tell anyone about this?" he asked. Ion's eyes filled with tears. "Who would believe me? Everyone thinks I'm just a weird kid, and if the bullies find out, they'll destroy everything." Mr. Thompson knelt beside him, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Ion, what you're doing is incredible. You have a gift, and the world needs to see it. But you don't have to do this alone. Let me help you." The next day, Mr. Thompson took Ion's case to the school principal, not just about the bullying but also about the boy's extraordinary talent. Together, they organized a science exhibition where Ion could showcase his work. At first, Ion was hesitant, fearing ridicule. But with Mr. Thompson's unwavering support, he agreed. The day of the exhibition arrived, and the school auditorium buzzed with excitement. Students, teachers, and even local media gathered to see Ion's presentation. When he stepped onto the stage, his hands shook, but he took a deep breath and began to speak. He explained the science behind his invention, his voice gaining confidence with each word. He spoke of his parents' dream to create a sustainable future and his determination to honor their memory. When he activated the prototype, the audience watched in awe as the device lit up, powering several small appliances simultaneously. The room erupted in applause. Ion's bullies, standing at the back of the auditorium, looked on with wide eyes, their taunts silenced by the magnitude of his achievement. Ion's invention caught the attention of several scientists and entrepreneurs who attended the exhibition. Offers of mentorship and funding poured in, giving Ion the resources he needed to further his work. The bullies who once tormented him apologized, their attitudes changed by the boy they had underestimated. As for Mr. Thompson, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Helping Ion had reminded him why he became a teacher in the first place, to make a difference in the lives of his students. Ion's success became a source of inspiration for the entire school, proving that even the smallest voices can have the biggest impact. If Ion's journey inspired you, imagine how many more stories like his are waiting to be told. Subscribe to our channel for more incredible tales of resilience, courage, and the power of mentorship. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder that they can overcome any obstacle and make a difference in the world.